All right, looks like we're gonna be getting started here pretty quick.
Indeed. Match is beginning. Shemcat versus LightRon. I'm excited. Chat's excited. I think everyone's excited, so that's a good sign of a good race. We had a pretty heater match up before, so it's got to be another good one here.
Oh, for real. I mean, the last match, that was pretty good. They were pretty close, about halfway until about halfway through. And they both got great times despite mistakes. So, I mean, yeah, that's what you expect from two very top level players.
Yeah, for sure. And rolling into Cap Kingdom here, both players looking pretty hot in this one as well. Gotta remind you guys, I was gonna make a segue into that one, but then I realized I was trying to segue in with very hot, and I'm not sure how to segue into a response with very hot, but Urban
I
Arts,
mean, I'm sure you could figure it out.
yeah, Urban Arts is a fantastic organization we are partnered with, raising money for them throughout the spring months here. They are raising money to upgrade their student media lab, which is basically, they have a hands-on learning studio in New York called the School of Interactive Arts. Teach kids how to make video games, set them up for college. It's pretty awesome. Appreciate the support in the chat if you have a couple bucks to spare. But we are popping into the scary part of Cap Kingdom here, left side. We saw Tyrone mess up left side last run, so we'll see if both these players can get it here.
You know, you'd think the amount of times that players do Cap Kingdom, which is, you know, the most of any kingdom in the game, they'd have it down packed, but, you know, that's not really the case, as we can see for Shemcat. LightRon did get his left side as intended, Shemcat did not. So that's going to give LightRon a couple of seconds lead. Nothing too significant. But, you know, it's Cap. You know, really not much significant happens in Cap.
Yeah. It's pretty standard for, you know, something like this to happen where there's like a couple second lead, but having anything bigger is a sign of something dastardly happening, namely trying to go a little bit too close on that beginning triple jump dive right before you enter the Cappy cutscene. You do see people occasionally bonk the railing there and die, which would be classified as absolutely tragic.
Oh yeah, Dansta, people mess up in Cap all the time. I'm just saying, usually people don't lose 5 minutes in Cap.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the curse of every speedrunner, right? You're always resetting in like the first two splits of the game, no matter how difficult or easy they are in comparison to the rest of the run. It's really hard to like make any mistake and be like, I'm gonna PB now. Like, it's so much easier to just be like, oh, I'm playing perfectly, now I'm gonna PB. Even though realistically, you know, people can probably continue quite a bit longer. It's kind of like in Mario 64, you got lack 2 skip, you're losing like 5 seconds right off the bat, which is pretty harsh, but you know, in longer categories, 5 seconds is not the biggest deal.
Runners of this game are pretty notorious for resetting, like in Cap and Cascade, and essentially, especially if they're going for PB attempts, if they're not like playing on their gold for Cap and Cascade, they'll be like, ah, this is trash, I'm resetting it.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the real pain in this game too is that resetting takes so long. You got to go into the menu, delete your file, start a new file, load up the start screen, wait for your DSTA offset, like, especially when you have like a DSTA offset of like 45, 50 seconds, like that is painful to watch. Like if you're doing reverse town, it's like, oh my goodness.
That's true. I mean, these runners are very good at menuing, so that part, you know, deleting the file and stuff is not that big of a deal for them because they can do it pretty much off muscle memory, but the DSTA offset, that can be painful.
Very, very experienced resetters. But yeah,
so
go ahead.
I'm looking here at the statistics sheet we have, and I'm looking here at LightRon's league average, and it is a 10025. And you can see that a 10025 is actually better than Shemcat's PB. So if LightRon plays on his average or better, it's looking pretty good for him.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, Shemcat could definitely pull out something crazy. Could possibly pull out even a PB and beat a time like that. You never know. Shemcat has a pretty sick ability in this game, so 10053 is definitely not the ceiling for Shemcat by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah,
I mean,
definitely a
crazier
hill to
things have
climb.
happened.
Yeah, for sure. Especially heading to sand here with a slight deficit, LightRon in the lead, and having the cleaner movement all over the place it's a scary time. But I mean, we've seen insane runners, you know, get klepto, die on FRS, literally in the last race. So there's mistakes to be made all over the place. That could make Shemcat's ride a little bit easier, but we'll see what happens here. See if both players
Yeah, I think
manage
I
to
actually
avoid
said
Cappy
I
here.
don't know if I've ever before today. I don't know if I've ever seen Tyrone get kleptoed before. You know, like it's one of those things that does not really happen on the regular with runners as high a level as he is. So
It was a CCG exclusive deal. I got into his DMs, you know, I was like, hey, couple bucks,
I
you know,
can't
this.
believe Theron is rigging the tournament. My
Nothing wrong with
goodness.
that. I mean, we want the content, right? We want the good races.
Can't believe this.
If you want to see the results of the last race or any other races, you can go check out the bracket. Check out the matches tab. Will show you literally everything that has happened. You can also check out the stat sheet. It has way too much information. If you would like any information on anything, check there first. I'm trying to get the commentators out of the habit of mentioning who wins a particular race during a live stream, because not only does it affect the people like watching the stream if they wanted to go back and watch the VOD, but also like on YouTube, it's like you could be watching like week 7 out of order or something, and then it's like, oh, I just spoiled the next race, you know, which is
Fair
a little
enough,
bit Monka.
yes. The winner of the race is, I will not disclose the winner of the race.
Which, shoutouts to the Cool Cat Gang YouTube. We are extremely behind, but, uploads coming out every day, starting today, so very exciting. Catch that after the race today. Getting caught up on the Any Percent League and the 16-star open matches. Gonna have a lot more content being uploaded there in the future as Shemcat and LightRon are grabbing this Dune Moon here, and Shemcat only a little bit of cutscene behind, really holding his own so far in this race.
Definitely. He did need 2 ground pounds to get that moon, so that did cost him about a second there. But good movement up to this moon here, and we'll see them go for this Dram. LightRon's looks good.
Yeah, compared to my personal average of about 7 or 8 attempts on the Dune Moon, both these racers absolutely slaying it so far. As both of them also getting Bullet Bill Dram. Very beautiful stuff. We are coming up on Reverse Jaxi, which can be a bit difficult. We've seen some pretty insane deaths on this movement in the league in recent weeks, so see if both players manage to nail it here. It's not the trickiest movement.
I believe in them. Let's see. Good movement so far for Light.
Oh, and Shemcat not going for it. I actually forgot about this. Shemcat does not go for reverse Jaxi. Just opts to go for the regular Jaxi skip. Totally valid. As I was saying, very difficult stuff. We've seen people lose, you know, 45 seconds to 50 seconds. Heading all the way back from the shot moon. It's such a long trek back to these moons if you end up dying, falling in the poison jelly. So, not a bad call by Shemcat. Just take it easy here.
Right, yeah, you end up back at the shop if you don't get the checkpoint coming into these moons here, which most runners don't. In the Any Percent route, there are very few checkpoints that are actually route required. The majority of them are for safety purposes, which at a very high level, they're like, I don't need them.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, I feel like runners are getting out of that. Maybe I've bullied them in the commentary booth enough about skipping the wooded, pre-FRS checkpoint. I'm seeing a lot of runners going for checkpoints. I'm gonna take credit for it. I don't think it's actually my fault, but still gonna cash in on that.
Right, yeah, I actually did commentate a race where a runner did not get the checkpoint and died. So that was quite something.
Yeah, and the thing about that is, you know, in SMO, obviously, it's possible to lose time anywhere, right? But those big chunks of time loss, like, you know, 30, 40 seconds, don't come very often. You know, you can die on, like, reverse Jaxi, you die on FRS and not get the checkpoint. You know, things in the later game, obviously, there's a lot more pitfalls and possibilities for death there, but overall, it's just a very movement-centric game, you know? And not to say that falling into a pit isn't part of movement, but we were talking about it last match. It's all about your lines, what particular moves you're going for, how well you chain them together. You know, there's very, very few pass or fail sort of situations in Kingdoms.
Absolutely. Super Mario Odyssey is very much a game where movement is going to save you minutes and tricks are going to save you seconds. So these runners' movements, their lines, their roll boosts, their spin pounds, all of those are going to be usually what makes the difference. And I think Ganon was talking about it last race where there's like invisible time save per se. She was referencing Tyrone, like making up a second, basically with nothing. And that's just, you know, Tyrone's movement is just better than anyone.
Talking about pass or fail segments, Shemcat here grabbing late clip as LightRon has messed it up several times now. 2 misses here, and not exactly, you know, just normal misses. Rolling through the wall and unable to get the out of bounds movement. So LightRon actually losing the lead here to Shemcat in Lake Kingdom. Not something you see quite too often, especially from these sub-hour runners. But, you know, messing up late clip, it does happen.
For sure. And, you know, it's very much, you know, you have to hit a very specific frame with your hat based on a shadow. So it's something that's easy to mess up. But for these runners, you know, making a mistake like that is not going to feel good.
Yeah, definitely this early in, you want to be, playing a little bit clearer than that in LightRon there. Maybe taking a little bit of the mental hit there, taking a bonk, trying to grab the moon there, but does manage to grab it. This is a rough late for LightRon. This is definitely not what we were expecting here, and definitely something that Shemcat's going to be happy with, as he's probably going to be exiting, unless he messes up, swimming to this little dude over here. I'm not even sure what these people are called, Bublarians?
I'm not for positive. I just usually call them the fish ladies.
Yeah, little fish dudes. Little fish ladies, both probably accurate. I do know that the people in Luncheon are called Volbonians. I did learn that recently, which is stuck with me somehow.
You know, fun facts. Yep, Shem is definitely ahead of LightRon, and that's basically all of the late clip.
Oh, Bublane is seaside, not lake. True. Awkward. I think the snails are called Bublarians. Bublarians? Bublanians.
Right, LightRon is 10 seconds behind Shemcat, leaving Lake Kingdom.
I feel like this is every time I commentate with Nurse Allison Rose, it's just me completely going off the rails, and Nurse Allison like helplessly trying to steer the ship back on the course.
I mean, that definitely has happened before, for sure. I don't really know what's rolling through your head right now.
There's a couple of rocks banging in there, kind of like the ones that LightRon has banged together here to collect that moon, and also kind of abuse a rabbit. I'm really not a fan of that strategy where we throw a rock at a rabbit, but I mean, it's fast, so I mean, I guess we're gonna have to do it.
It's sad, for sure.
Alright, so heading up to the tree boot, Shemcat still ahead. We are coming up on Nut Clip though. Shemcat coming out ahead on the first clip of the run, the important clip in Lake, going in his favor. Can he double up here and make Nut Clip work in his favor? A miss from Shemcat here would be absolutely catastrophic.
I mean, it depends on what kind of miss you're talking about, because there are many different types of misses. You know, there's the type where you miss the move, bonked but stayed out of bounds, so not catastrophic but losing time.
Yeah,
that is a pretty common bonk to make.
Does make it though, so doesn't quite give up the lead, but LightRon catching up quite a bit there. And that's the scary part. I mean, we were talking about it last race. If you're running against a runner who has a pretty solid lead in PB over you, objects in the mirror are closer than you appear. You look in your rear view mirror, you look at the restream, you're like, oh, I'm like 30 seconds ahead, and then it could be like literally the next kingdom, you're like 10, and it's like, then you're sweating, then you get the Monka steer mentality, and it can get a little bit nerve-wracking.
For sure, you know, even when you feel like I make the slightest mistake, you know, runners can capitalize that on. Especially if they have a faster PB than you and just kind of just fly.
Okay, Shemcat, I think, ignoring the checkpoint there. I'm a little bit scared.
Correct, he did not get it.
Especially since we just almost fell walking around the corner. LightRon taking a pretty fierce bonk though there. Not quite grabbing the moon on the way down, which is unfortunate, but this is going to be a big deal. Can Shemcat do FRS and make it over to the tower?
Good. Easy.
Yeah, even this part here can be a little bit scary, but making it not so much. Making it over the gap. Easy clap for Shemcat. Should be...
Well, both sides easy. I would say LightRon is about 2 seconds behind, maybe 3.
Yeah, LightRon certainly got the moves here. I mean, you can see it in the movement decisions that he's making and just the execution overall. There's seconds being made up everywhere, and it just takes 1 or 2 more of those seconds, and there is another one there. Couple seconds.
Now we have a lead change.
Yeah, to the side of LightRon, and Shemcat has... Oh, taking a dive in the wrong direction.
Not a catastrophic time loss, but it's those little things that we talked about earlier. LightRon is bouncing on the bird.
I'm gonna have to start using that word more often in commentary. Catastrophic. It's on brand, right? It's on channel brand.
Is it?
I mean, catastrophic and catastrophe, I think need to be a staple of the channel.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. But you know, I don't want to use it all the time because if it's a 1 or 2 second time loss, that doesn't really fit the word.
I'm sure we'll have plenty of catastrophic meltdowns in future races. It does happen pretty frequently. It's hard to play a speedrun up to your maximum potential every time. As we see Shemcat here. Oh, not quite making the cycle in the Fuzzies room here, the Pipes room. Kinda being harsh on this gamer right now.
LightRon had a much cleaner flooded pipes. He was able to get his cycle the way he intended it. And is going to be leaving Wooded ahead when he left Lake 10 seconds behind. About at 1840 for LightRon. 1851 for Shemcat. So in total, there is 11 seconds difference. So LightRon made up 21 seconds in Wooded Kingdom. Wooded, however, is pretty notoriously a run killer. You can just bleed time super easily.
Yeah, both making it through relatively unscathed, though. I mean, we had some slight hiccups on Shemcat's side, you know, losing the lead that he gained and lost, but overall, you know, keeping in it, which is a key element of winning an underdog situation like this. LightRon's already showed that he can make some pretty important mistakes here, so You know, a mistake like that in a more serious, or dare I say catastrophic scenario, something like a klepto or something like, you know, dying in the mech fight or something crazy. I haven't seen a death in mech fight in forever, so I really hope that doesn't happen, because that would be 100% my fault. But there are plenty of opportunities coming up for a Shemcat comeback.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I never want to call anything ahead of time. I think a death in mech is a little bit too much to ask for, though. Because usually runners won't even take damage in mech, let alone die.
You underestimate my power, Nurse Allison Rhodes.
Clearly I do.
I think one of these runners could possibly take a death in darker side even in this race. That's definitely possible.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get to 500 moons, and then we're gonna go to darker side.
Wait, you don't know about darker side early?
That's not a thing. That's not a thing that happens.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
Dang. Okay, maybe I can't will that into existence.
Me. No. I am not that gullible.
Both these players making pretty quick work of Lost here. No kleptos as of yet. No poison jam mishaps, so that's nice to see, as LightRon's going to be swinging over, going for reverse torpedo. And we see it seems a little bit... okay. A little bit sus to me, but does make it work.
Shemcat, actually, when he was triggering Klepto, was a little bit sus as well, but he made it work.
Okay. LightRon noticing something a little bit off about that triple jump movement there to the cage. Gonna end up going for some backup stuff, and that is a-okay. Identifying the problems before they happen. Sign of a very solid runner. Knowing what to do and make it less of a damaging situation to the timer.
Right. It looked like he bailed on purpose because he didn't like the way his jump turned out. And he did that knowing that he would lose time, but he was pretty confident that if he went for the jump, he would either fall off and die or bonk.
Yeah. Taking a death there would have definitely been a lead change, so good call there from LightRon. Good play, especially in a race scenario, even in a PB scenario. I mean, that'd be something that's good to go for, but Shemcat in tow here. Not too far behind at this point, didn't quite catch the time difference there.
But coming up here into the Night Metro, the main thing here is going to be how their Wiggler fights turn out. So, you know, there's only one way to find out, and that's to see what'll happen. Sometimes the City Hall interior can cause people issues, but because it is a very platforming heavy area, and the poles that you grab onto, their hitboxes aren't always the way you think they would be.
I feel like the hitboxes are almost never the way you think they're going to be, especially if you're re-grabbing the pole. They just never work right. As LightRon taking a couple of bonks here on the way into City Hall, so not even into the City Hall yet, having some trouble. Going for Goomba Heck here. Successfully darning the Goombas. Very epic stuff. And yeah, as the chat pointed out, this is still a very close race. Shemcat about 18 seconds behind here. We head into City Hall. LightRon not looking super confident. Shemcat not going to be going for the Goomba Heck movement. Going for the normal cycle here.
Yeah, so that'll lose him a slight amount of time on LightRon. However, you know, nothing, as Siren would say, catastrophic.
Indeed.
Good first cycle from LightRon, however, the second cycle is usually game changer. The first cycle runners typically don't have issues with.
Yeah, it's once you get to that second cycle, if you get the Wiggler, especially when it's wrapping around itself, got a lot of those orbs to smack with your, I don't even know what they're called. I guess they're bombs, your tank shots.
Yeah, it's a tank.
A little bit violent for a Mario game. I don't know. I have to make this rated M. I'm a little bit scared right now.
This is a children's video game.
Nintendo out of control. Putting war machines in their child's video game. Not sure how I feel about it.
LightRon's Wiggler was very good all the way up until the last orb. His last orb, he did have to shoot a couple times for. We'll probably lose him a second or two.
Yeah, Shemcat having a pretty good second phase as well. Taking a little bit of damage from one of the fireballs. Not a huge deal. Gonna be wrapping things up. Key ingredient there, of course, not getting a 3 cycle. 3 cycles are a little bit painful.
True. And you mentioned him taking damage. Almost all moons will give you about a second health refill, with the exception of multi-moons. So as long as you don't die, you don't get any of that time lost from the health refill on the multi-moon. So that damage really doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, it does take a little bit of time to damage down, but like you said, no damage refill like you typically would have to deal with. So that is nice, as both runners rolling into Day Metro here. Typically considered to be a little bit easier than Night Metro, although Scoot Clip coming up is quite difficult. You see LightRon twisting his hands in pretty unnatural ways. You have to be a bit of a contortionist in order to get this trick, but manages to nab it.
I love watching runners face cams while they're doing Scoot Clip. Some people will do that hand over hand that LightRon does. Some people will tilt their controller in towards their body. Valu even said once in an interview that he puts his controller over his head when he does that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have seen or heard legends of players putting it over their head, as Shemcat is having some troubles getting the moon in the cage here. Does eventually grab it, but that is.
And he did have to circle it a couple of times, and he did do a rage capture there too.
Yeah. When the captures start coming out, it's generally not a good thing. Although I did just see my first ever, I don't even know what to call it. Praise capture? Happy capture? I don't even know.
I think praise capture rolls off the tongue better.
It doesn't really make a lot of sense, though.
I mean,
guess that's
sometimes
not
I'll
super
see
important.
runners take videos when they do something good, so they can go back and be like, replicate this, you know?
Yeah, fair. I don't think making sense really matters too much, though, considering there's a lot of players that want to call the new-ish clip in Seaside Fish and Dips, which...
That's what they're calling it. They don't want to call it that. That's what it's called.
I think Fish Dip is better.
Ooh, LightRon having some issues here with bullet building. Was unable to capture the bullet bill, having to take the slower route. Luckily didn't fall off and die, but did lose a few seconds there.
I feel like at some point we're going to need some sort of like democratic process to officially name the clip in Seaside. I feel like it's getting a little bit ridiculous at this point. It's going to be like 3 years down the line and we still have not universally decided on a name.
Well, most people in the SMO community are on board with the fact that whoever discovers the glitch gets to name it. That's usually how it works. It's not always, you know, people don't always have a consensus. Like the discoverer of the climbing outside the 2D section in Escape Sequence wants it to be called 2DSS, but some people call it Bouncy Bowser Skip.
I haven't heard that in forever. I'm not sure if anybody ever says that anymore. I think that's kind of died out.
I've heard it.
Weird champ.
Alright, right on here on his last 2 moons here in the people's room.
Yeah, no reverse people's room this time around. Keeping it simple, keeping it basic. LightRon getting through Day Metro without a hitch, really. Shemcat losing an unfortunate amount of time on the Scoot Clip's really gonna hurt him here. As LightRon is rocking into the next kingdom with another sizable chunk of time save. Got meeting his face with the railing, not gonna help out there, but definitely still on this one.
And I also did see another subtle time save. If I could say that real quick. Shemcat actually got the hint art in the pool while LightRon got it in Cloud Kingdom. So about 1.5 seconds, just invisible time save there.
Yeah, definitely something that's a little bit trickier to pick up on, which is why we have Nurse Allison Rose in the booth, keep track of everything. Because I would be lost. Shouts to Allison for being here. Appreciate it. Shouts to all the commentators for pulling up. It's hard to keep commentators in the booth for so many matches. Like the 80% League, we have 6 matches a week for like 2 months. It's kind of crazy. A lot of talking time. Oh man, LightRon has gotten his overalls all soggy. I'm disgusted. The moist sound of Mario rolling through the snow is not something I very much appreciate.
Based on their day metro exits, I calculate Shemcat to be about 49 seconds behind LightRon. So almost a minute that he's gonna need to make up here.
So you're telling me we should will the mech death into existence? That's what you're telling me.
No, I am not telling you that.
Oh.
I am going to remain an impartial party.
Okay,
and
so...
I'm gonna say I don't care who wins as long as it's good content.
Well, that's what you want for the good content, right? You want a close race. Why we gotta curse who's ever in the lead. I think that's the rule. I'm not sure. I don't make the rules.
No, I don't want to curse anyone. I want them both to play well.
Alright, so Blowy Joey room for LightRon getting absolutely launched off the block there by a gust of wind. Shemcat is just now entering Shiveria. Both runners, of course, going to go for Snowdram. I mean, come on, this is the 80% League. You're gonna see Snowdram every single race. It's gonna be weird, you know, going to the Open later on in the year and seeing non-Snowdram route and like beginner Sand Kingdom and stuff. You almost forget that kind of stuff even exists watching these games every single week. Like, these runners are just so cracked.
Right. I mean, it depends on what kind of circles you run in. If you really only watch top level runners, you may never see those. But if you watch more intermediate level runners, then you will. So...
Alright, so LightRon cruising through the Goomba room there, making it look easy. Shemcat having his work cut out for him here. Does make a pretty nice move through the Blowy Joey room, but I mean, you gotta be a little bit nervous as Shemcat right now, right? You're going against LightRon, he's got a sick PB, you're behind. I think Shemcat probably going into this didn't really expect to come out with the W, so probably not like, you know, too stressed out about it, but the pressure's definitely on.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, you know, what's running through a runner's head, but I think a lot of times when you have someone whose PB is almost 2 minutes better than yours, you're thinking, you know, not expecting to win.
We did have a race in the 16-star open where we had a player with a heart rate monitor, so we got to see when they got nervous, and I think during one of the races, during one of the races, I think their heart rate got up to like 150 or 160 or something ridiculously high. I was like, maybe calm down. Maybe we'll take a break before game number 2. And he put his hand up to the camera, and it was just like trembling. And I'm like, bro, it's not that. Like, relax. It's all gonna be okay. We're gonna make it through this together.
That adrenaline running high.
Yeah. Speedrun racing is a serious business, I gotta say.
LightRon notably did get Snowdram on the first try. He did miss the roll cancel bounce, which is like maybe like a 1/2 second time loss there.
Yeah, speaking of serious business, worth mentioning again. Oh my goodness, Shemcat, I'm scared. Okay, he does make it. He's a little bit uncertain there, but did make it over the snowdram successfully. But as I was saying, a very important program that we are supporting is Urban Arts, sending students to school for game design. Typically underprivileged students, I think it's like 80% or something, people of color, 50% women. Trying to level the playing field for everybody to get into fields relating to game design. So if you want to support the game designers of the future, drop !UA or !donate in the chat. Even just plug in the commands really helps us out, you know. Get those links out there, let people know who Urban Arts is, where they can support them. Kind of a big deal.
Credible organization, great to support them. And also, while we were leaving Snow Kingdom, Shemcat has a 51-second deficit, so lost about 2 seconds in snow.
Yeah, which is not too bad, right? Considering the PV gap and, you know, the probable difference in golds in that kingdom. Losing 2 seconds is not that big of a deal. It's obviously not ideal, but we're really looking for that big mistake at this point from LightRon. There's no real other way for Shemcat to come back unless he, you know, miraculously starts playing like Tyrone or Mitch or somebody and just makes up seconds everywhere. Shemcat's got to be praying for some sort of meltdown, which I know we're not supposed to curse them. I didn't read the handbook, but apparently I missed that in the rules.
Didn't you write the handbook?
No comment.
LightRon did get fish and dips, notably. And he gets the Merci Dory moon, and he is French, so...
Yeah, there is some sort of French advantage there, perhaps. Makes the moon easier, but unfortunately the moon is already extremely easy, so... Probably not exactly the most beneficial advantage to have.
Shem did not go for fish and dips, so we'll lose him small amount of time there. Again, that's a trick that really only saves a few seconds.
France team in the chat out to support their fellow countrymen. Beautiful. You love to see it.
Love to see it.
I'm surprised to see a lack of Shemcat supporters. Usually Shemcat has like the copy pastas flowing in the chat room. I'm not sure where where are the Shemcat supporters at? Can we get some Shemcat supporters in the chat room? I'm a little bit scared right now. Has the Shemcat army gone to sleep?
Maybe. It's possible.
Shemcat is located in the UK, so maybe a little bit past some of the supporters' bedtimes. It is 9 PM over there. You know, very late. Speedrunners have never stayed up past 9 PM, surely.
Never. Not once.
It's all triple good for LightRon. A little bit of wonky movement up to the salt pile, but not a huge deal as we are cruising onwards. And will we see Spiritless here? Probably not a necessity, but I think we've been seeing LightRon go for it in the majority of his races. So
I'm guessing he probably will.
Yeah, probably will and is lining up for it now, but I'm a little bit scared here, right? Because this is just like opening up the door to opportunity for Shemcat. If there's a big death here, that could be what we need. And, you know, without Spiritless Luncheon's not such a scary kingdom. There's a couple places where you can die potentially and lose a chunk of time. But once you add Spiritless in, there's tons of jumps that you have to add in that are really, really hard. So, I don't know. LightRon just kind of balling right now. We'll see if it pays off. Oh.
Yeah. Did miss his jump there, will cost him about 2 seconds. Oh, value dive.
Yeah, and I was hyping up the... Oh, no.
Oh, no. His movement's just molding right now.
Yeah, taking the time, lining up the angle. I like that. At this point, you just gotta take the L and move on. And I was hyping up the Luncheon Spiritless movement, but that was literally just Luncheon movement. Like, that's in every route that I'm aware of, so... We'll see here, heading into the actual spiritless parts, if that mess up affects his mentality at all. I mean, it could definitely put a hamper on the mood. Let's get the slots, so that's a good start.
Yeah, I think it's funny how, you know, the more simple movement, you know, like that for LightRon is so difficult, but that spin throw with the 5 slots, which is incredibly hard, he gets an easy first try, no problem, you know? So it just goes to show, you know, how incredible these players really are.
Yeah, it's easy to forget when you're watching the nutty SMO runners going, you know, head to head every single week, multiple races per week, per day. It's kind of crazy. But these are the best of the best. I mean, these guys are in the league for a reason, and you know, it's not because they just, you know, showed up with a decent PB. Like, they battled for these spots. They were either in the last league and placed highly, or they came in from the open tournament. So nobody here is here on accident. And yeah, Shemcat pulling through in Luncheon so far, coming up to that jump. That LightRon failed several times, makes it look easy. So that's a little bit of a benefit there for him.
Right, you know, the spearless route can save you about 10 seconds with optimal movement. However, that kind of spaghetti movement that LightRon had did cost him pretty much all of that time save. So not to say that he, you know, can't still play cleanly and good, but that kind of time save that he would have over Shem is essentially gone.
Yeah.
But he's juggling these turnips like a pro.
Cursed.
I know.
Come on,
as
come
soon
on,
as I
Allison.
said it. As soon as I said it.
I thought you were impartial, and here you are busting out the commentator's curses? Come on.
Commentator's curse isn't being partial. It's just saying the wrong thing at the wrong time.
I don't know. I thought commentators' curses were always intentional, but maybe not. Maybe I'm the only one sitting in a dimly lit room with candles all around me, but I thought that was typical.
I have no candles around me.
Oh, strange.
You know, it is hard to know the runner's exact pace right now because we don't have their splits up. But LightRon probably could still like a high sub-hour, low 100, depending on how the rest of the race goes.
Lucky for you, I am the restreamer and I see the splits because both are actually using splits, poggers. So I could actually let you know that Shemcat's BPT is 100.56 and LightRon's is 59.29. So a pretty sizable gap in the sum of best, but kind of what you would expect, right? Going into it. And funnily enough, Shemcat's BPT is 3 seconds off of PB, which is probably not going to happen, but that just shows how like good he's playing, you know, to his ability, right? He's not making any unnecessarily, you know, huge mistakes he would never make. So definitely keeping in it in terms of, you know, the effort levels. This is pretty much as fast as we could possibly go within reason. Which I think is impressive, right? Because you go into a match like this, and Shemcat being kind of an underdog in this whole league situation, you know, it's very easy to go in these races and be like, there's no way I'm going to win. And then you fall behind. The second you fall behind, you just kind of like mauled or like give up. But Shemcat very clearly giving it his all here, which is something you love to see.
I believe I commentated one of Shemcat's races, and he told me in a post-game interview that his goal is to get 101s. So I think this is definitely possible for him to get a 101.
Yeah, definitely on pace for that.
.44.16 race exit from LightRon. Cappy's gonna teach us about some strategies here, and is also gonna tell us about the lore of the upcoming kingdom. Too bad it's in Chinese, so I hope you know Chinese.
For all you Chinese speed readers out there, I hope you got all that information.
Yep, this will be on the test.
I'm gonna fail the test, I'm gonna be really honest.
Alright, looked like about a 45:01 exit from Shemcat, so about a 45-second difference, which is a slight gain from last I checked.
Yeah, and LightRon here grabbing Captain Toad, immediately saving our friend, which is fantastic. We destroy his house in Snow Kingdom, but we save him here in Rune Kingdom, so it's kind of a, you know, a back and forth there. We'll see if Shemcat opts to save Captain Toad. In previous tournaments, it's been a requirement you get disqualified if you actually miss them. We've eased up on that a little bit since there's so many Captain Toad supporters. But a few people have been, you know, delinquent on their Captain Toad saves. Okay, here we go. Perfect.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, freeing all those hearts ahead of time, just in case we take damage. You don't want to take a death in the Ruin fight. That is not only cataclysmic, as one would say, but also a bit embarrassing, as this fight is typically considered to be pretty easy. As long as you can continue moving and not get hit by the electricity things, like, it's pretty much a gimme.
Now, most people will call it an auto-scroller. And the reason that runners do take intentional damage on here, not only because it's faster, is because there's 4 free hearts just laying in the arena, sitting there. You know, you don't have to do any work for them, they're just sitting there.
Yep. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly. Like, why did they give you so much health in a boss fight? I don't know.
I mean, who really knows? But, you know, there's 4 hearts just laying there for free, along with 200 just free coins sitting there. And those free coins being in the form of the Captain Toad Hinner we talked about earlier.
Yep. Other commentators have told me that this is the Urban Arts Kingdom, so I must shout them out really quickly. Urban Arts, they're beautiful, they're wonderful. Please support them. We love Urban Arts. Very cool. Thank you.
Perfect.
Just in
Plug
time.
done.
Wait, Mecha Brutal only has 1 heart? Really? I thought it had more rocks than that. Is that fake news or real news?
To be honest, I haven't seen anyone use the hearts in the Mecha Brutal 5 for so long, I could not tell you for positive.
You get some more newbie streams on the horizon here. Where are the beginner SMO runners? Need to find them. We need to raid them. I want to see some meltdowns on Mecha Brutal. I'm tired of seeing these successful Mecha Brutals. I want to see some deaths. I'm not. It sounds like I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I love watching beginner runners. It's so much fun. Like, you can literally like die in Mecha Brutal and be like, it's still PvP pace. Let's go. It's amazing.
That's true. I mean, it you know, it depends on, you know, how big your sum of vest is between your PB. You know, some people have pretty big gaps if they're pretty new.
Yep. Little broski in the chat claiming that Ron is destroying the run. I gotta agree. Ron is absolutely tearing apart Bowser's right now. Has some issues in late Kingdom. Had a couple of bonks here or there, but overall, LightRon playing super cleanly throughout this. Definitely sub-hour pace. Dude's going crazy. Oh, actually, barely sub-hour pace.
Grinding a lot.
Would have to gold. Okay, never mind.
Wait, what's his VPG?
10000.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah, so
I forgot luncheon happened.
Then. Yeah, I mean, luncheon was a bit of spaghetti, but I mean, I wouldn't say it was cataclysmically awful.
Oh my god. What other cat pun words are there? Can't think of any.
I don't know.
Catastrophe, cataclysmic. Those are kind of the same word though.
They're pretty similar, yeah.
There's a couple of words in my head that I want to say, but I'm not sure if they're real words, so I'm just going to keep them to myself. We're going to move on and talk about the bunnies fights.
Fair enough. So I'm expecting to see a Zarbamba attempt here from LightRon. Does look like he's gonna try it. Yep. Bomb floating in the air, totally normal and intended strategy by Nintendo.
Yeah, it looks normal. I mean, he hits the bomb and then just kind of floats over Harriet's head for no reason. That seems like a standard game mechanic. Surely speedrunners wouldn't cheat, right?
Never. I've never seen a speedrunner cheat a single time. Every single strategy they do was intended by the game designers.
You know, something that's tragic is the CCG YouTube does not have any chatters in the comments messaging us about how it's so awful that all these runners are cheating and don't play legit. And I think part of the reason that is because a lot of you in the chat room are not currently subscribed to the CCG YouTube, and that is just an absolute travesty. So everybody out there, if you don't already follow the channel either here or on YouTube, please hit that follow button. Seen some follows flowing in over the course of this race and the last one. Really appreciate it. We're almost at 2,000 followers here on Twitch, which is crazy. I mean, I think we had like 12.
Poggers.
I think we had like straight up like 1,200 followers or something before we started streaming on this channel like 2 months ago or something like that. So we've got like 800 followers in the bag. Let's get a couple hundred more. Let's get up there.
Do it. You heard the man. I want to say I was in the booth when CCG hit 1K.
Probably.
I seem to remember that.
I think you commentated like half of the sophomore and freshman tournament matches, so
yeah,
quite
pretty
possible.
much. That sounds about right.
Here's Allison Rose literally carrying the commentary booth. You love to see it.
Not right now. Used to, not right now. Alright, LightRon has got his Pokio heading up the wall to the mech fight. You know, this is the place that's usually scariest here in the Bowser's Kingdom. You know, the mech, no matter how good you are at the game, it's difficult.
Yep. We've seen LightRon struggle a few times over the course of this run. Will this be a position of contention here? Rango acquired, easy clap. You'd love to see it. Alright, making the whole mech fight look easy peasy so far, but this is the hardest part, right? We gotta get Harriet here. Some might call it Harriet acquired, I'm not sure who, but you could call it that.
Nobody. Nobody might call it that.
I like calling it Harriet acquired.
Alright, now Shem's got his Pokio heading up the wall. What?
You totally missed that sick Harriet acquired there from LightRon. That was amazing.
No, I was watching it.
Dude, that is so hard.
Had a great mech fight. No problem. Easy clap.
I know it looks easy, but like hitting Harriet there on top right as the Bowser, the like mech starts like moving around, it's like pretty difficult. And once you miss it one time, it's like over. It's like GG. The mech's like stomping around and you gotta like pre-plan where you're ground pounding.
Shem's having a little bit of trouble here climbing up, actually taking damage on that Pokio there.
Nope, it's not happening. No runner's ever messed up mech. I don't believe it. Shemcat. Come on.
Trying to climb up the leg there. Oh!
No.
Oh, he's down to 1 health. Saren, you better not have cursed it.
Nope. Nope. I said LightRon was gonna die, not Shemcat. Has nothing to do with me.
Okay, Shem, you got this.
Oh
no problem. Just climb on up.
Right.
Not a problem. No issue. Just stay on the rest of the time. You'll be fine.
I'm currently terrified. And this is where Harriet Acquired really comes into play here. Very important.
As long as he stays on the mech, he won't take damage. He'll only take damage if he falls off.
All right. Solid. Going for TA and nails it. Beautiful stuff from Shemcat. Obviously having some troubles climbing up the mech, but at this point, I mean, you can't beat yourself up too much. The goal is 101. The race is already kind of getting away from you. LightRon didn't make that fail. The only real things that could be in the back pocket in terms of a fail from LightRon is maybe like dying on move cave skip or dying in pillars sequence. Like, there's so few areas where LightRon can make a major mistake, and honestly, they're going to be very, very rare from a player like LightRon.
Shemcat's in the chat saying that he loves the climb, which we can obviously see, having taken 2 damage on the climb and falling off twice, which is fine. He's fine. But, you know, in the end, he nailed it. No death. Not a problem. Once he got on, there was no issue. Single wall from LightRon. Ooh, taking a bonk there up at the top wasn't quite high enough. Cost him a couple of seconds there.
Gonna back it up with the standard moon cave skip. Totally understandable stuff, and that's definitely not what we were looking for in terms of a comeback scenario for Shemcat. Would have had to be a death there, and still wouldn't have given Shemcat any sort of lead or anything. Would have just made it closer, but LightRon keeping it under control. Not making it too...
Yeah, I was gonna say even a death wouldn't have been enough.
Yeah.
Death in and of itself.
It would have been the start of a beautiful fan fiction, though, for the Shemcat supporters out there.
Oh, I see. Okay. Are you writing that fan fiction, or is someone else writing that?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter for my up-and-coming Super Mario Odyssey community fan fictions.
I see. Okay. Yeah, LightRon, I believe, left Bowser's Kingdom like 55-11, I want to say. So with that issue on Moon Cave Skip, he's probably looking like a mid 100 right now, depending on what happens.
Yeah, but my cheater calculations, we got LightRon clocking in at a BBT of 1005, and I almost leaked Shemcat's ult, but Shemcat sitting at a 101.44 right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, about 2 minutes of difference.
BBT for LightRon does not take into account the Moon Cave Skip issue, because his last split would have been for Bowser's.
Very true. Yeah, see, I have a small, tiny pea brain, and I don't actually know any numbers, so I just look at the numbers on the screen, and I just go, yep, that's the numbers.
Fair enough. Yeah, Shemcat had a much better Moon Cave Skip than LightRon did. Shemcat is avoiding that fire, you know, that very scary looking fire that you think you'd get a hit by, but it's actually just a ground scroller, so as long as you're not on the ground, you're groovy.
I still get hit by it. Even though I know that, and everybody tells me it's easy, I still get hit by the fire every time. I don't know.
Like, even if you just do like a single jump, just standing still and jump like 2 inches in the air, I won't hit you.
I was not very good at jump rope as a kid, like, especially when there's 2 people in the big jump rope. Dude, I sucked at that. I could not do that. Hand-eye coordination, I don't know what it is. Foot-eye coordination, is that the thing? I suppose that's the thing.
I would say yes. Alright, LightRon heading in here to the Pillars room, looking like a low 100.
What's a Pillars room?
If you want to, you can... This is the Pillars room.
Oh, this is the Cat Jam room.
I mean, I guess you could call it that if you want to.
I think Cat Jam is way more important than the pillars. As long as it's not the Pepe D room, anything is fair game in my opinion. Severe lack of jammers in the chat room. I'm wondering where the jammers are at. Heard of mod check. I'm looking for chat check. Where are the jams? Need some support for LightRon right now as he's about to wrap up with a low 100. Insane. What?
It's like a 10018 for LightRon, taking the win. GG's.
Insane.
And now Shemcat is here in the 2D section. We'll be heading on up to the Cat Jam pillar room. Can I say both? Does that work?
Yes, that's allowed. We'll allow it. I suppose there are pillars in there, so that kind of makes sense.
Alright. You can feel free to get some more Cat Jams in the chat for Shemcat's pillars room. He still could 101 this.
Yeah, you're gonna be close. You're gonna have to have nice fireballs, but this first pillar looking hot. Getting, I think, an extra fireball in there, actually. I'm not really sure if I counted right, but that was a lot of fireballs on target. This dude's got laser vision, apparently. Knows exactly where that pillar's at. Locking onto it.
A lot of runners will throw 6. Even though you only need 5, because they expect 1 to get eaten or miss.
Yeah, those fallen rocks can get in the way. They're quite difficult to deal with, but Shemcat locking things down here. I do believe this is a 101, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, I would say yes.
Very beautiful stuff.
It's like a 101.48 for Shemcat. GG's. He's going to be 90 seconds off of LightRon there. So that does play into account the amount of points that Shemcat is going to get, as LightRon will get 1 point for every 10 seconds that he has on Shem.
Yeah, that is something to definitely bring up. We haven't talked about it yet today, that, this is not a, win-loss scenario only kind of deal, right? We got points on the line. Points matter. That's what gets you into the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. Obviously, you get more points if you win, but if you're going to take the L, you might as well fight for every last second, because it does matter. But yeah, I mean, both runners having sick runs, and I was talking earlier about LightRon being kind of hot and cold so far in the tournament, but I don't know, he's kind of changed my mind. LightRon kind of just looking hot right now.
I think he's pretty on point, if you ask me. Played right around his league average that I talked about earlier.
Yeah. That is critical.
Alright, I do see that we have a LightRon here in our waiting room, so...
Yeah, we'll see if Shemcat wants to hop in here, do a little bit of decompressing, hear some thoughts, some feelings, some dark secrets perhaps, plans for the future.
Yep, he's in there too.
Beautiful. And I do think we'll get in some matches tomorrow. I'm not sure when. I will put it on the calendar, announce it on Twitter or something like that. So make sure to follow the socials, because there will be more Mario action coming up. But for now, we do have LightRon and Shemcat joining us here in the booth. LightRon, congrats on your victory. How are you feeling about that race?
Thanks. I don't know. It was weird. It was expected. I haven't played since my last race. I wasn't free to grind this game, so I had to rest like 2 hours before the race, and it was really bad. But even though I had big sloppy mistakes, I'll take this 1-0, of course. This is my first one in the league, so it's fine. Having a time like that with really big mistakes, like in Cascade, Lake, Luncheon, and a bit of everywhere else, is good, so I will take it.
For being a D-Rust, I would say that's pretty good. I mean, you held your own throughout the race, and we saw a lot of great movement from you. One lunch at the beginning of lunch and after Spiritless when you were trying to get on that Rock Candy Mountain. How were you feeling there?
I got a very good dive. It was weird, and I tried to back it up quickly because I was still in the with a Subaru BPT. I was like, damn, if I can get a Subaru with that, that would be kind of funny. But yeah, I wanted to back up too quickly, and I didn't take the time to calm down and do it slowly and safely. So yeah, that was my bad. But it's fine. It happens.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not looking bulletproof in the race, but I think you definitely put up a good time here today. And yeah, Shemcat, gotta ask you, I mean, were you watching the race? Did you know in Lake Kingdom you had a lead exiting into Wooded, or were you kind of rolling in blind?
I went in the chat to post Day Metro and I love Mech Bat Chest when I was just being mad about my big time losses, but no, I wasn't actually watching throughout. I was actually green out of Lake. It was the only kingdom I was green out of because my PB and my early game in PB sucks. There we go. But yeah, that was swiftly killed by that really bad Wooded. It was still like possible until Day Metro, and then I just had an average me Day Metro, and yeah, I couldn't really recover from that point, especially after the mech incident.
Yeah,
I guess we take 101. I've been kind of struggling to get the consistent 101s I should in these races, so at least that's another one. Another 101 for the books.
Yeah, we're happy to see, the 101. We were a little bit scared there on Mech because if you do go back and listen, Saren was actually earlier in the race cursing that someone was going to die on Mech.
Oh no.
So when you were down to
No.
1 health, I was kind of saying to Saren, you better not have cursed this for Shem.
Yeah, I am awful at backing it up if I don't get the climb very quickly. It's definitely one of the things I'm worst at in this game. And I'm also very glad I grabbed the checkpoint right before entering the fight, because if I didn't, yeah, Saren would have cursed me
I would never do that.
to an awful mech fight.
I've never talked negatively about a run. I've never wished a death in the game upon anyone. It's never happened.
No, I don't believe you.
Well, you'll just have to check the VOD on YouTube to find out, XD. But yeah, I think that's it for this one. I appreciate everybody in the chat for chilling, watching, the donations that came in for Urban Arts. You guys are amazing. You guys are killing it out there. We do have a lot more SMO action coming up this weekend. Keep an eye on the schedule for that. Keep an eye on the Discord, on the Twitter, all that stuff. We'll be talking about them. We'll be hyping them up. And yeah, we're going to go raid Dirt My Herp, who is doing their first ever SMO Any % run. So if you don't show up and throw in a cool cat, throw in some words of encouragement, I don't know what you're doing. But yeah, thanks to everybody for the awesome race, and we will see you next time.